I've been following the same weekly money routine for over 5 years, and this routine has made it possible for me to reach a 7-figure net worth. I've moved across the country 2 times. I max out my retirement accounts every year. I've paid off all of my student loans, and I overall feel more confident in my financial situation and all of the financial decisions that I make. So today, I'm going to take you through the weekly money routine that has made my financial life absolutely blossom over the last couple of years. There's a lot of personal finance jargon on the internet, but here at Break Your Budget, we cut through the crap and focus on getting the basics right. When it comes to improving any area of your life, it's the small, consistent habits that are gonna make the biggest difference. I feel like we think that doing big overhauls, strategy sessions, meeting with a financial advisor is going to be the catalyst that makes the biggest difference in our financial lives. But what really generates results is consistency. Consistency with your budget and planning, consistency with how you spend, consistency with paying off your credit cards, consistency with moving money towards your goals. And I have found that the way to stay consistent is through this 3-step weekly money routine. Before we get into it, there are 2 key things that I always like to do to get myself ready for this. And to be clear, this whole routine takes about 5 minutes. The first thing I do is make myself a little treat. I made myself a coffee because I'm doing this morning, but sometimes I do it in the evenings, in which case I will pour myself a poppy or a fun little drink. The goal is to make this routine something that you actually look forward to. So think of something that you can do that's a little bit special, like making a nice little latte or pouring yourself a fun drink, so that you can associate managing your money with a positive cue. The second thing I do is I pull up my financial management tool of choice, which for me, I use the Personal Finance Dashboard. This is a comprehensive money management tool that makes it really easy for me to track my expenses and to view every corner of my finances. This weekly routine as well makes it really easy for me to maintain progress and momentum with inputting all of my data so that I'm actually getting great insights from the tool. The PFD is always available on my website. I'll make sure all of the details are in the description. And in this video, you'll see how I tactically use different aspects of the PFD to track my expenses and to review my budget overall. If you're interested in seeing my monthly money management routine, let me know, and I'm happy to record a video for that. And I also want to mention that if you watch this video and you feel like the Personal Finance Dashboard is a little too much for what you're looking for right now, I do have a brand new tool called the Basic Budgeting Template that really just gives you the monthly snapshot of what your budget is. The transaction logs and how you manage your money within it is fairly similar to the Personal Finance Dashboard. It's just as customizable. So if you're interested in learning more about that tool, I will make sure the video tour is on the screen so that you can go watch that. So with that, let's get into it. Let's kick things off here with step number 1, which is tracking your expenses. This is what's going to take the longest amount of time depending on how many transactions you have every single week. But because if you do this weekly, like the number of transactions is likely going to be smaller as opposed if you did this bi-weekly or once per month, it really should not take you more than 5, maybe 10 minutes if you have a high volume of transactions. So what I like to do is I will pull up the income and expense log of my Personal Finance Dashboard, which is what you see right here. And then I also have my credit card statement pulled up that has the expenses from the last time that I came in here and tracked that I'll need to log. So we're going to start here with February 19th, this Trader Joe's expense. So literally what I do is I come into this log, I'll enter in the date, and because Trader Joe's is groceries, I will select grocery from my essential expense column. So what I've entered here for my essentials is all part of my categories and goals that I set earlier on at the beginning of this year. So I have my grocery, and then Trader Joe's, this expense was $40.52. And I'll enter in Trader Joe's just so that I know which transaction is associated with what. You don't have to do that, but I prefer to do it. Then we have 2 Aldi expenses. So I'm going to put $2.20 and $2.21. Both of those are also grocery. Clearly, I have been going to the grocery store a lot. $10.70, and I'm going to put Aldi. And then the other one is $22.73. And I'm also going to put Aldi. I'll make sure this is spelled correctly for reference. Next, we have Form by Sammy Clark. So this is my workout that I pay for, and that is under subscriptions for me. So I'll put $28. Form. The next one is Oud Coffee Cafe. So this was Dubai chocolate that I got. So I'm actually going to put that under restaurants, even though it technically isn't a restaurant. It wasn't coffee. So that's the category that I feel like it makes the most sense for. And that is $13.95. And then moving up to these pending charges here, we have Nomad Chicago from $221. That is coffee. So I'm going to do $8.93 and I'll put Nomad. We also have $221 Refined Nails and Spa. I went and got a pedicure, so that would fall under self-maintenance. But I'm actually going to enter $50 because I tipped 10. So I'll do pedicure and tip. We have $222. Oh, this is a credit card check, so that doesn't count. And then we'll do $223. Collectivo coffee. That was another coffee that I got this weekend. And I know I actually added a tip, so I'm going to put $704 because I tipped $1. And those are things like from memory. If I know that the charge hasn't cleared yet, but it's like ever so slightly off, I'll make those adjustments as I go. So those were my only expenses last week. I'm going through kind of like a low, no spend period. It's just been the winter. I haven't really been going out to eat all that much, but that is basically all I do here. So if it was a week where I was getting paid and I was making contributions to my 401k or contributions to my investments, I would also go through the process of logging that here. So I would have like my salary and I would enter in my bi-weekly amount. But I didn't get paid this week. I get paid at the end of this week, so I will track that next week. So like I said, this shouldn't really take too long, but once you have all of your expenses tracked, we will move on to step number 2, which is reviewing our budget and doing a little bit of self-reflection. Moving on to step number 2, this is where I'm going to be looking at my budget and seeing like how I'm stacking up so far. And I'm going to be super transparent. I'm doing this live. I have not looked at it yet since last week. And I also want to mention, because I am self-employed, I don't really go through the process of moving money and planning out my goals until the end of every month. That's something specific that I do just based off of how I pay myself and how I transfer things. So if these numbers look kind of odd to you, that is the reason why. So the first thing I'll do is I'll look at my essential expenses so far for the month based off of my plan. So I planned for $3,405 this month in essentials, and I'm at $3,200. And I'm filming this on February 24th. We only have a few more days left of this month, and we don't have a weekend. So I'm actually anticipating that my expenses won't change too dramatically. So when I look at where I'm over and under, I'm over on groceries. I know that I'm going to have to buy groceries one more time, so I'll probably make an adjustment there in step 3. Insurance, I paid my insurance in full in January, so this isn't something that I plan for. Drugstore, I am going to have to go to the drugstore today, although I don't think I'm going to pay more than $30. Subscriptions were on target. Household essentials, I didn't need anything this month. And transportation, I have not gone on the train here this month, so that's a win. Moving down to my non-essential expenses, I am over in my shopping, but I'm still pretty far under in my total plan. So for going out in restaurants, I didn't really go out to eat at all this month, besides like if I went on a date, which I didn't have to pay for, which is fabulous. For shopping clothes, the reason why this is so high, there's actually a few reasons. First is that I purchased a Polen bag, which was part of my broader plan for this month, which is this original $680. That is a bag that I've been planning to buy. So if that has a sticker shock to you, welcome to Break Your Budget. I buy nice things. The other two things here that are driving this overage is I did purchase a new pair of jeans, and I also repurchased a sweater that I really loved that was on sale in a different color. So I didn't necessarily plan for those purchases, but they were intentional. So when I'm thinking about how am I over, how am I under as part of the self-reflection, the goal is to really understand, okay, if you are over, what is the driver? And that was the driver for me. So if I were to go back and look at my income and expense log, you can see that I had planned for the Polen bag up here. I made that purchase on the 1st of the month, but then I also purchased a sweater, And then I also purchased a pair of jeans. Where is this? Right here. Oh, and I also purchased a pair of sunglasses, which that technically wasn't planned, but it was something that I needed. So that's driving this overage. I'm not mad about it, especially because I'm super under in some of these other areas. Shopping beauty, I had to rebuy some new makeup and some new skincare this month. Self-maintenance, that was my pedicure. Ubers, I didn't take a ton of Ubers this month, which was fantastic. Coffee, we're a little bit under, so I don't think that I'm gonna go over that, honestly. Workout, that is, this is a great example. This draws attention to my subscription. So I had included this Sammy Clark under my subscriptions, but what I think I'm going to do is actually change that and put it under workout. So this workout budget that I have is usually my monthly class pass. But now what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to change it to be this monthly class pass and my form Sammy Clark. So I'm actually going to up this in my category section to $90 a month. So that is reflected in my budget for the rest of the months here. Travel, didn't do any traveling. I didn't go home. Gifts, I bought my sister a gift for her birthday. That was $150. Activities, I did a wine tasting. And miscellaneous, I don't really have too much in here because I'm really trying to not put things in my miscellaneous category. So that is my broader spending self-reflection. Goals, I'm not going to do for now just because, again, I do my goals usually at the end of the month. So now we're going to move into step 3, which is where I do adjustments to my budget if I need to. So since we're at sort of the end of the month, really the adjustments that I'm going to make here are to better align how things sussed out so that at the end of the month, I can get a really clear picture. So in terms of rent, nothing there is going to change. Utilities, I don't think I'm going to make any adjustments there. I'm not anticipating paying for more utilities this month, but I might. Groceries, what I need to do is I need to add another $50 there. So I'm going to up that to $350. And I'm going to bring my transportation down to 10 because I'm not really going to use that, but I might get on the train this week, so we'll see. And I'm actually going to bring my utilities down to 90. And the reason why is because I added $50 to my grocery budget, so I want to be able to find that $50 in some of my other categories. I aim to focus on finding it within essential first if it's an essential expense that I'm adjusting. So I added $50 to groceries, I reduced utilities by 10, and I reduced transportation by 40. So I found that $50 in my budget to make up for that adjustment. So when I say often on my Instagram, make adjustments to your budget, this is what I mean, because as you go through the month, like what you anticipate is going to happen might look a little bit different than what actually happens, and that's totally fine. But what you want to do is adjust your budget accordingly. So I made that adjustment and I'm still falling within my range. I'm honestly probably going to fall a little bit under, which is fantastic. Going down towards my non-essentials. So my restaurant's going out. I'm not going to be going out to eat. I might go out to eat on Friday. So I'll pull this down to 150 just in case, but the likelihood is still up in the air. And I'm going to add that 150 to my shopping. And even though it's not going to do it completely for me, it'll get me closer to the green here. Shopping beauty, I'm not going to touch this. Self-maintenance, I'm not going to touch this. Ubers, I am actually going to bring this down to 50. Workout, we're going to keep it there because I will get charged for ClassPass. Travel trips, I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to take that out because I'm not going to spend any money on that right now. And what I am going to do is I'm going to add this $75 up here that I just took out. And that'll get me even on my shopping. So my shopping was a little bit high for the month, but that's okay because, again, when we're thinking about how we fall in total, I'm still falling well below what I had originally planned for the month. Gifts will stay the same. Activities I'll keep, and miscellaneous I'll keep just in case. And that'll bring my budget into its totality for the month. And so that is my weekly money review. I think we're at 10 minutes, which honestly is a little bit longer than what it would normally be just because I was talking through it. If I wasn't talking you through my thought process and the steps, this would have taken me half of the time. So going through this weekly routine isn't something that should feel cumbersome. It isn't something that you should dread, and it isn't something that you should think is too in the weeds or takes way too much time. At the end of the day, what gets tracked gets managed. So if you have a budget and you're finding that you're not sticking to it, or that things always go awry and then you sort of throw caution to the wind and you tell yourself you'll deal with it next month, I highly recommend following some sort of routine or process just like this. I also would recommend that you get a tool that makes it really easy to manage your money. I often get pushback about manually tracking my expenses, but as you can see through this process, the manual tracking of it all is really, really, really easy, okay? It is not something that should be super hard. All it requires is having a tool that makes the process super streamlined, and that's why I love my budgeting tools specifically, which I don't mean to toot my own horn, but a lot of budgeting templates are not streamlined in this way to make expense tracking simple and straightforward and make it easy to categorize things and then easy to get those insights in your budget. So if you're looking for a tool to really make managing your budget and tracking your expenses easy, I recommend you check out the personal finance dashboard or the basic budgeting template, because expense tracking and financial routines are going to change your financial picture. I can guarantee it. If you are not tracking your expenses, you're spending more money than you think, and that is getting in the way of you reaching your financial goals. So if you have any questions about this routine, let me know. I'm happy to elaborate. If you have any questions about my monthly routine, or you want to see a video where I go through that specific process, also let me know. And with that, I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.